Hey YouTube, Chris here. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm making another video on my introductions into cybersecurity. We're starting out slow, going nice and simple into what it takes to become a cybersecurity analyst. Today is probably my favorite subject, video gaming, and how playing video games actually is a great foundation getting into cybersecurity. It builds the soft skills needed to develop an excellent platform to build upon with technical knowledge. So I'm going to do a deep dive into why I think video gaming does such a great job at transforming these skills that you don't think mean anything in the real world to awesome skills that not everybody has. So let's get into it. If you spend thousands of hours grinding for rare loot, memorizing complex map layouts, or figuring out exactly how to beat a seemingly impossible boss fight, I have some good news for you. You weren't wasting your time. You were training. For a long time, there's been this massive misconception that changing careers into cybersecurity means you need a traditional, lifelong tech background. But the truth? The mindset required to be an elite gamer is almost identical to the mindset required to be a great cybersecurity analyst. Today, we're breaking down the exact transferable skills that bridge the gap between the virtual battlefield and the digital front line. We're talking about how your gaming habits have secretly wired your brain for threat hunting, incident response, and blue team operations. Let's dive in. Let's start with the most immediate hurdle people face when they look at cybersecurity tools: information overload. Think about the first time you boot up a massive RPG or an extraction shooter. Your screen is filled with maps, inventory grids, status debuffs, and fast-moving combat log. To an outsider, it looks like absolute chaos. But to a gamer, it's a beautifully organized system. You learn to filter out the noise and zero in on one metric that matters in that split second. Now look at a SIEM dashboard like Splunk or a packet analyzer like Wireshark, which are tools you'll be using in the field, by the way. To the untrained eye, a wall of firewall logs or a stream of TCP dump data is terrifying. But as a gamer, your brain's already hardwired for pattern recognition. You're used to looking at complex user interface, identifying anomalies like a sudden drop in a stat or an enemy clipping through a wall, and reacting. In a security operations center, that translates directly into spotting a malicious IP hiding in thousands of lines of benign traffic, or recognizing the footprint of a POP3 email exfiltration attempt. You aren't scared of data, you're used to reading the UI to win the game. The second major advantage is something every tactical gamer knows by heart: map awareness and choke points. If you play a competitive shooter or survival game, you don't just walk into the room blind. You know the entry points, you know where people like to camp, you know where the choke points are, and you clear your corners methodically. You're consistently predicting where the threat is coming from based on the layout of the map. In cybersecurity, this is literally called attack surface management and threat mapping. When you look at a network infrastructure, you're looking at a map. Where are the public-facing servers? Where is the sensitive data stored? What are the open ports, and which protocols are active? Gamers have intuitive understanding of defensive positioning. When you map out an adversary's potential path using frameworks like MITRE ATT&CK, you are quite literally doing a map review of the enemy's playbook. You're figuring out their spawn points, their movement patterns, and where to set up your defenses, like a snort rule or an EDR alert, right at the choke point to catch them lacking. Let's talk about a trait that separates good analysts from great ones: the ability to handle failure and embrace the grind. Cybersecurity is rarely about instant gratification. It involves a lot of troubleshooting. You write script, it breaks. You configure an alert, it triggers thousands of false positives. You run a vulnerability scan, and the output is a mile long. Non-gamers sometimes hit that wall and get incredibly frustrated. They feel like they aren't cut out for it, but gamers, we are forged in frustration. Think about throwing yourself at a brutal boss fight in a game like Elden Ring. You don't just quit the game permanently when you die the first time. You analyze why you died. Was it your timing? Were you using the wrong weapon? You tweak your strategy, you optimize your build, and you try again. That exact loop, trial, failure, analysis, adaptation, success, is the definition of engineering a cybersecurity solution. Whether you're debugging a Python script for automation or trying to figure out why a specific exploit payload isn't launching in a lab environment, gaming teaches you that failure isn't the end of the game, it's just data collection for the next run. Our fourth advantage comes down to how we communicate under pressure. If you've ever run a high-level raid, coordinated a dynamic defense, or called shots in a fast-paced multiplayer match like Valorant, you know that bad communication kills teams faster than bad gear. You need clear, concise callouts. No screaming, no nonsense, just the facts. Enemy flanking left. Need healing on point B. When a real-world cyber attack happens, say a ransomware deployment or an active data breach, the environment turns into a high-stakes multiplayer match. It's chaotic, stressful, and time-sensitive. This is where incident response comes in. A solid incident response team functions exactly like a high-tier raid group. You have specific roles. You have the lead calling the shots, analysts digging into logs to track the threat actor's lateral movements, and network admins isolating compromised hosts. Having the muscle memory to stay calm under intense pressure, talk clearly in a crisis, and trust your team's callouts is a massive soft skill that employers are desperate for right now. So if you're sitting there with a massive Steam library wondering if you have what it takes to pivot into information security, stop doubting yourself. The foundational logic, the split-second decision-making, the comfort within complex interfaces, and the sheer resilience to grind through tough problems, you already have those traits. You've been leveling those up for years. The only thing left to do now is change the skins. Swap the gaming controller for a Linux terminal. Swap the game wiki for technical documentation page. Take that exact same curiosity and competitive drive, apply it to hands-on labs, certs, and threat hunting. Watch how fast you level up in this industry. Your past experience isn't a detoured path, it's your secret weapon. If you found this information useful, or if you're a gamer interested in getting into cybersecurity, please drop a comment. I'd love to know what you think. As always, Chris, GG's.